Hey there, YouTube. It's Jelly. It's been a while. And lots of stuff has happened. But that's not really why I decided to make a video today. Today I want to talk about something that's been bothering me the past couple of days. And that would be this. Now, I love the Steam controller. I probably love it more than just about anyone in the whole world. It's amazing, and it's very configurable, and it lets you do a whole lot of stuff, and really it's quite amazing. I have been working on... I didn't save it. Working on a set of controls for the Steam controller for Guild Wars 2. Now, last time I did Steam controller stuff was probably about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. So lots have changed since then, and generally it's pretty good. Let's do button pads. So I'm just going to go through the basic process of configuring this. Luckily I know most of the configuration stuff that's needed for Guild Wars, so I can pretty easily go through here. Alright, so now we can move around. I actually don't really like that, but it's good for now. Need to be able to turn around. Do I have escape bound yet? So, while I was doing this yesterday, I was working with someone else's configuration that they already had most of the way done, and there were some fundamental problems with it that really would have been way more work to fix than to like just make my own. But I was like, I was starting to realize why they did things, some of the ways they did with their controls. In the Steam controller, you have all these buttons, right? You have the left trigger, the right trigger, the bumpers, the grips, you have these track pads, you have the analog stick, you have these buttons. One of the really nice things is you can configure these grips, to be mode shift buttons. That basically changes the functions of other buttons, you know, basically based on your whim, like however you decide to make it work. And this is really cool because it lets you do stuff like, you know, I have the triggers do one thing, like maybe attack 1 and attack 2, and then I hold this down and then they become like attack 3 and attack 4 or something like that. Another really nifty feature with it is to change what these trackpads do. So like they might operate like a mouse normally, like this one is operating like a mouse, but I can add mode shifting, add a mode shift of the left grip, and that will change how it works. Now you can mode shift on here like basically every button, right? You have all the bumpers, you have the triggers, both soft pull and full pull, you have the grips, you have the pads, clicking them. I believe touch is also there. No, no touch, just clicking. And all the buttons, A, B, X, Y, start, select. Basically that leaves the analog stick. Oh, nope, you can do the joystick click too. So the only button that you really can't do mode shifting on is the Steam button, which, you know, is cool. You know, it gives you a lot of options. Now, one might think that this is Like, you know, nice. I'll use the grips for mode shifting, left grip, and I'll make it, I don't know, something else. A touch menu, sure, why not? Make 2 buttons. It doesn't really matter what these do because we'll change it later anyway. So I don't know. Left click and right click. So now when I go in here, I have, you know, mouse control on the right pad, but if I click it, I get a menu that pops up. I can left click or I can right click. You know, basic, easy, cool, lets you do a lot of things. But it seems like since you have all these buttons for all these mode shifting, that you should be able to mode shift multiple things. So if I do the left grip, it becomes like a touch menu. But if I do right grip, it becomes a different touch menu, right? Like that seems like a natural escalation of this, but it is not set up to do that. You can only mode shift once per thing. Now you can still use multiple different mode shifts. Like I could do left grip mode shift for this trackpad and right grip mode shift for this one. But they can only have 2 alternates set up for it, and it's like, oh, that's so annoying. Because, you know, I really like on here to get rid of this and make this become just a menu.
All things have a right.
Not a single button, that's dumb. A touch menu and give it like 7 buttons, and you know, control like various functions for this would be like, you know, the F buttons on the left mouse, and then like hold it down, and that gives me the ability to make the menu change to something like inventory, guild, bank account, whatever menu things that aren't necessarily needed in combat. But I might want another one that lets me do other things, more realistic instead of touch menus, you know, on the triggers. We don't have very many buttons on here. This is an MMO with 10 skills that you need access to all the time, and then you need F1 through F5. So I put the F buttons on the menu on the left pad, and then I put the skills on here, you know, auto attack, and then like skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, and you start running out of buttons. So mode shift comes in. Well, okay, so you want to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe something like that, right? That gives you all access to all 10 buttons. So you go in here, you're like, cool, I figured that out, I'll do that. Let's come in here and then start doing that. So on the full action, we don't want to do right trigger. We want to do skill 1. Awesome, we got skill 1. Now let's go skill 2. Remove that, and skill 2. Oh, we forgot to do our mode shift. Full action on mode shift would be 6. Okay, that's cool. The mode shift button is going to be the left grip. So far, so good. Everything, so far, so good. No problems. All makes sense. Come here, give it skill 7. Mode shift button, left grip. It's a little clunky, you know. It's not the best setup for being able to access all this stuff. You have to do it basically with the Steam controller, and it doesn't have a really good interface. But I'm not going to complain about that so much. It's not a big deal. All right, so let's do skill 3. So let's clear that off there. Skill 3. All right, we want skill 4. Oh, wait, or not skill 4. That's 1, 2, 6, 7. We want skill 8 on here too, right? Why is this? What's going on? This one opens up a menu. This one just opens up a button. What's going on here? Why is this different? there's no way to create a mode shift for this. You just can't do it. So yeah, no mode shift. Don't know why. It wasn't me. I didn't design this way. For some reason this button can't do mode shifting. You can use it as a mode shift button, and you can't do this one either. The grips can't be mode shifted. So yeah, you can mode shift these buttons here. These can be mode shifted. You can mode shift the analog stick. Now I'm not exactly sure why you really want to do that, but you can do it. You can mode shift the gyro. Now you want to have button input on your gyro when you mode shift. Can you not do that? Guess you can't do that. Well, you sort of kind of can. If you want. Let's get rid of that. No. Let's. No. There we go. So yeah, oh, okay. Never mind. You can't mode shift this one either. So it leaves you with a few buttons you can't mode shift, and that's really clunky. It's really clunky indeed. And so I started thinking about, well, maybe there's a way around this. Since I last was messing with Steam controllers, they did add the ability to create action sets. Now before, action sets have been around with the Steam controller for a long time. But you couldn't trigger action sets yourself. They had to be like programmatically added to the game. So now there are action sets. I wanted to make this action set be called something like menu, the default one. It'll give me access to the buttons, the mouse buttons. But oops. I screwed up. Let's change this one to menu and delete this one. No, I don't want to delete default. Oh, let's change it that, and then let's delete this one. Yes, I'm sure. And then let's rename this to upper. Map. Oh, why map? No, menu. Sorry. Loud noises confuse me. Okay. And then you can add an action set for like combat. No, let's actually copy menu because it's got a lot of stuff in it that is good. So combat. Okay, so you can now trigger these action sets on various buttons. So on the menu, where are these? There. This might be an action set. Change it to combat. No need to change it. Or to tell me the name of the change. And we'll also do this one as well. Change it to combat. That way we can pretty easily. Did I? Oh, I got rid of the right and left click. I'm gonna want those back. But you know, you can now trigger those on whatever function you want. You can do that in the touch menu too, which is really nice because I'm going to have, like, you know, a button to open up the map, and you can also now load up the actions that we want when we open up the map, for instance, which is cool. That was previously unavailable. Because of that change, you don't need as many mode shifts. Like before, it would have been nice to be able to mode shift this to be like attack 1, attack 6, and also the left mouse button. But now you don't need to do that necessarily because, you know, contextually you don't need all of those at the same time necessarily. But sometimes, you know, you do want more than just 2 options, and it's just clunky. It's just clunky. Like, why can't you mode shift these bumpers? There's no reason for it, as far as I can tell. It's just a button, but they don't have any way of mode shifting that button. Just because. I don't. And then these bother me because I don't know what these do. And it doesn't really tell you. Like, what's this? Select cursor position. Move cursor to desired position and press A button. What? What the f... Like, that's cool. That's cool, but it's like... Okay. How do I get back, other than actually doing it? Push A to confirm. Okay, cool. When releasing the button, like, remain in new position. Sure, cool. I don't really want that, but I don't know what it is without clicking it first. What's this do? Toggle magnifier. Okay. What's the magnifier do? I don't know. What the hell? No, go away. That is okay. That's cool, but it'd be cool if it, I don't know, told me what it was before, like, I actually clicked on it. Like, I'm afraid of testing this one, because that's a power button. What's this do? Set light options? What? Light options on my controller? Like, what? Why would I? What? I guess that's kind of cool. You could do that, like, so you can have a visual representation of like a mode shift or something. I don't know. Steam play pause. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. No. This one. Take screenshot. Okay, that makes sense. And then that's the keyboard. Yeah, but it's like these icons. I'm curious. What does this do? Open big picture minimizes. Suspend host. Okay, cool. Anyway, getting off topic. I want to be an evangelist for the Steam controller. I really want to be. I feel like it's the best controller that there is for the PC. I think the ergonomics are better than the 360 and Xbox controller. I prefer the trackpad to the analog sticks. Dual analog. I don't like the dual analog. I prefer this. It has great customization, which is less of a draw now since that they've added the Steam controller support for dual axis, 6-axis controller and the Xbox controller. But you know, this paved the way for it. But like, this controller is so good, but it's hard to be an evangelist for it when the software is so clunky and is not fully intuitive. It's like you start looking through this and start understanding how it works, and then it's like, okay, cool, I'll do this thing. And it's not consistent with how it works. The rules for how it works aren't consistent. So what you learn for one button may not be true for another button, and it's like, well, why can't I do that? And there's no real good reason for it. Like, I don't know if it's been changed since before, but there was like here you have mouse region on these buttons, and it's like, well, that seems kind of ridiculous. You can like set up this region on here, and okay, like just to show, like, it mouse region, cool. Now let's actually demonstrate this. You see my cursor jumping to those positions? Goes all the way to the right, top, bottom, left. And it's like, that's cool. Like, you know, having the ability to create a mouse region on your buttons like this. And there might be some use cases for this with setting that region to be very specific size, like shrink it down, move it. So that when you do it, it like is to a specific part of the screen that is useful for doing that, or like maybe in a game where moving your mouse off to the side of the screen scrolls the screen, so you can set the button to do movement of the screen that way. But it's like, there's no obvious reason why that really should be there, right? And that just speaks to the level of customization you can have. But then when something simple like, oh cool, I just want to mode shift this button, and then you can't do it. And it's like, you have these things that are arguably unuseful, like mouse region on a button. And then you have stuff like, you know, mode shifting, which works on basically everything, not work on these bumpers when there's no reason they shouldn't. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to getting these bindings working how I want. I just wanted to complain a little bit about this. So, if you've watched the video, watched the stream, I'm sorry. Have fun, but yeah. Anyway, that's it.